Welcome to another CEO interview. I'm joined today by Sam Yagan, who is the CEO of Match.com, and also, is it formally the CEO of OkCupid, or are you still the CEO of OkCupid?
No, I think it's formally the Match Group, and I've got all of our businesses have their own leadership. So my co-founder Christian runs OkCupid, Amarnath runs Match. I don't do anything. I just help keep the whole ship going in the right
You're
direction.
the visionary.
I don't know about that.
One of the visionaries.
One of them. One of them.
So, there are a few companies that have demonstrated that are capable and have demonstrated a willingness to acquire other internet dating companies in this industry. Match is one, of course. What kind of companies are you interested in buying at this stage?
Globally, I think there's a lot of opportunity for acquisition. In the United States, I believe that our portfolio of businesses, especially OkCupid, Tinder, and Match on the mass market, and then the people media sites in the niche markets, I don't believe there's any, I don't think there's a gap in our portfolio that's a must-have. There are lots of good properties out there that we look at when they're available, but I don't go to sleep at night thinking we have to have this business in the US. So we're always looking for things that complement what we're doing, anything that's either has a great brand or has great growth potential. Those are kind of the two big things that I look for in the US in particular. Globally, we tend to look more at geographic gaps. There are certain countries where we don't have a great presence, where we're not a market leader. So we'll always be looking there. But we're also looking at people who have found interesting ways to get scale. So Twoo was an acquisition we made last year. They had over 10 million monthly users all across the globe. That was an interesting platform for us. And we've made other acquisitions as well. So we make small acquisitions, we make big acquisitions, US, globally. But I don't think there's really any asset that we need. We're really looking for strategic complements and huge growth potential.
Great. And it seems like there's a fairly sizable opportunity that Match has talked about in the past and done some experimentation around some years ago, and that is matchmaking. I mean, it seems we've done a good job collectively as an industry reaching people at that $20 to $50 mark. But you've got the matchmaking industry, which is charging $5,000 and up. I mean, there's matchmakers that charge. Orly, the matchmaker, so she has a $250,000 price point.
Right.
But I think there's certainly a price point of about $5,000 where a lot of people have less time but more money, and they'd like to just get out and date with compatible people. So isn't there really an opportunity between the $1,000 to $5,000 a year mark where you could bring a lot of choice, whereas matchmakers don't bring choice, and add in some service?
That's right. We have a big announcement coming out this week in that space. So I can't tell you anything too specific about that, other than we're big believers in the value of matchmaking. Some of the matchmakers out there use negativity and scare tactics in recruiting their clients. They bring people into their office, and it's a really hard sell. You're going to be hopeless without us. Your eggs are drying up. And we want our matchmaking service to be positive and empowering and aspirational. And so you'll see us make a move later this week, which I think will do those things and will be a great complement to the Match brand.
Wonderful news. I'm looking forward to it. It's great. And on the reverse of that, it seems that our industry is a little flawed in some ways because we wave goodbye to our success stories. Is there a real opportunity to think with couples products? We see competitors toying in this space, and I think there was a product, Delightful, that was an experiment for 3 months. What's the future?
We look at ourselves broadly as being in the love business, sort of beyond the dating business. So we're in the relationship business. Half of all adults are married, and about half of people unmarried are in relationships anyway. So there's the relationship market is in many ways bigger from a number of people perspective than the dating business. So in theory, it's great. It's a great complement to our business. It's great that our relationship currently ends with our users when they go into a relationship, and it's nice to have an offering that allows us to extend into that relationship. I think the reality is that finding out what that product is, what the product market fit is much harder. We've seen some people go and offer a messaging app. You've seen some people offer a calendaring app. You've seen some people offering a date experience app, a concierge app. And I think the reality is, unlike dating, which is such a crystal clear need for people, people really strongly want to find a relationship. It becomes a top three priority in their life. Often, you don't see the same need for a couples product among couples. Yes, would it be great if someone could plan a date for me? Sure. Would it be nice if there was a good way for us to have a private messaging area? Yes. But those aren't needs in the same way that dating is a need. And so what we've seen, whether it's with our own product that we've tested, Delightful, whether it's How About We's product, whether it's other startups, Pair and whatnot, what you see is these products get a small amount of traction, but they have a hard time getting to the scale that the dating businesses have. And we know the How About We guys very well. I have a lot of respect for Aaron and Brian. We know the other products out there. But the reality is, no one has proven the ability to build a big business in the relationships category. We'll continue to dabble in it. I think it's something that will happen eventually. But it's not something that I think no one has yet found the right product at the right price point that has mass market scale.
Of course, one thing that we have seen over the last few years is a mass transition over the last 3 years from desktops to mobile. So roughly what kind of proportion of daily visits are coming to Match on mobile at this stage?
Sure. Mobile is the future. It's the present. It's probably even the past still. We have a suite of products in our portfolio. You have Tinder, which is 100% mobile, 0% desktop. You can't even access it from the desktop. You have products like OkCupid and Match, which have both strong desktop presences and strong app presences. You have some of our other products, which are still primarily a desktop and a mobile web environment, and they have currently have a lower commitment to the app space. Dating is a category that is inherently mobile, unlike some products which mobile is just another interface to reach the same content. In a dating app, you ultimately want to meet someone that they're going to date in person. You have to be at the same place at the same time with another human, and that is inherently a mobile activity. So I think dating is more tuned to mobile than almost any other category. The majority of our usage across our businesses is mobile, whether it's logins or messages or time spent, whatever number we want to count, we're primarily mobile. And you will see more and more of our focus, both in terms of engineering, but also in terms of product and innovation, go in that direction. So you pointed out that not all of our products have apps. That we're going to correct that. So you will see best of breed apps across best of category apps across all of our brands in the not too distant future.
And how's the relationship with revenues from mobile? Do you think in the next year you'll see half of revenues coming from mobile?
It's hard to say what the mix is going to be going forward, just because we have such a big legacy business. So many of our existing business our subscribers started on desktop, and those billing relationships continue on the desktop regardless of whether the users use them on mobile or desktop. So that's unclear. I think the majority of our signups are mobile, and so you're likely to see over time the majority of our first-time subscribers become mobile, and then over time the majority of all of our subscribers become mobile. So we'll see how that goes, and it differs across businesses. As we begin to monetize Tinder down the road, that'll be obviously all mobile. So our business is going to become more and more mobile over time, and the revenues will become a part of that.
And Match Group has taken an interest in startups like Tinder
Sure.
and others. What if you were talking to the CEO of a mobile dating startup at this stage? Would you advise them to focus on Android or iOS from the outset? Which was easier to build at this stage, do you think?
From my startup days, a lot of it is just opportunistic. Where's the talent you have on the founding team? And I think if you have a passion for one versus the other, you should probably follow that passion. It's probably, you probably have slightly more early adopters still on iOS. And so depending on sort of how you're going to launch the product, you may be better off there. However, the flip side of that is there may be less competition on Android. And so I don't think there's one way or the other. by the time you're going to be big enough for us to really have an interest in investing or acquiring or anything like that, you're probably going to be on both platforms anyway. So I think which path you go to get there, I don't think is that important.
And in the past, we've seen that iOS has generated more money and better conversions. Are you seeing some change in the difference between Android and iOS monetization?
I think the data probably still show that iOS generates more revenue and more conversion. Again, it depends. What is your app trying to show? Are you trying to demonstrate huge growth? Are you trying to demonstrate huge revenue per user? You could go a bunch of different ways. How much are you going to have to spend to get that customer? So the unit economics, I don't think are that different between the two, but you probably get slightly higher revenue numbers on iOS.
Wearable computing is on the rise now. We saw a mass change with the introduction of mobile. It took a while. Somehow, I don't think it's going to take quite as long with this transition to wearable computing. There seems to be certainly a mass frenzy among early adopters. And who knows if Apple introduces their iWatch and we really, there's even talk of using an ear-based mobile computer, right. No screen at all. Sure. What's your plans for Google Glass? Can you see that it's worthwhile having an app within the next year for Match on Google Glass?
I don't know that it'll be in the next year, and I don't know that it'll start on Match. I mean, one of the nice things about our portfolio is we have brands all across the spectrum, and we have some brands that do things more quickly and more opportunistically, and some brands that don't. They have other priorities, and so I don't know that there's a Google Glass app in particular coming out for Match in the next year. The history of our category is, dating is one of the earliest adopters to any new technology when it launches, in part because we have such great monetization, in part because any way you can use technology to get a better sense for who the person is you're potentially going on a date with tends to be very popular. So look, I suspect that as soon as wearables have enough market share to be worth making an app for, then absolutely we'll be there. But again, to me, it's not so much about the app or not the app. It's about what is the product, what is the user experience that is customized to that device. The big thing with mobile, with smartphones, was the GPS, right? It's the touch screen. And you'll see, Tinder leverages those two things. What is Tinder? Tinder really leverages the swipe and leverages your GPS. Those are the two components that are really unique to the smartphone that makes Tinder special. And you'll see a lot of the innovations that we have coming down in Match will continue to leverage those two things because those are native to the device. So the question is, what are the user experiences native to an iWatch, to a Google Glass, to whatever the wearable is that will lend itself to a great dating product? I don't want to be on Google Glass just to be on Google Glass. I want to be on Google Glass because we have found a really cool way to make dating better for using Google Glass. And so, I don't think we figured that out yet, but absolutely we're thinking about it.
I think that you can almost think of this almost as a level of intimacy. The mobile phone is far more intimate with human beings than a PC. I mean, the wearable computer is really going to know us. It's going to be, who knows, it may be recording all of our behaviors, or at least, scoring.
For better or for worse. That's right.
It's horribly controversial, but also fascinating in this particular industry. So how do you think wearable computing might change that dynamic, that by being more intimate with users? What kind of observables could the dating industry pull and use?
To me, what's exciting about wearables is you use the word intimacy, which I think is great, but to me, more than that, it's about the data collection that we're going to have. I think the future of our category is better and better algorithms. We started OkCupid because we believed dating was a data game. Dating was about the numbers. And if you could imagine down the road, you have a Google Glass that knows, okay, there are 10 people in the room, you've looked at each one of them, and you've had a chemical hormonal response based on your attractiveness to each one of them. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to swipe right or swipe left anymore. I'll just know based on your emotional chemical response to a woman that you interact with, whether you like her or not, whether you're attracted to her or not. And so that gets me more excited. That gets me more excited than saying, okay, well, yes, now I have an iWatch and I'm going to be able to swipe differently or not. If we can get access to a whole new type of data, that is going to make the algorithm that much better.
Fascinating stuff. Sam Yagan, you're the CEO of Match Group and co-founder of OkCupid. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.